All right, we'll get started, and I think we'll be ready in a few seconds with our webinar. Today, mastering compliance with security, with user security governance module in Dynamics, a live brainstorming session with executive automates. Will give us 2-3 minutes to get some traction. We see people are joining in. So to give you guys some capability to join time, will give us a few seconds. Actually, I'm joining today from sunny Johannesburg, South Africa, as we are doing here a wonderful project dedicated for test automation and compliance. Yeah, it's going to be pretty nice. Joining me here today, Pavel Wozniak, our great product evangelist.
Hello.
Yeah,
So,
we have.
what is the weather in Johannesburg? It's hot
I mean,
there.
it's raining a bit, but that's kind of a nice switch for us because we came here on Monday, and on Monday we had 5 centimeters of snow in Poland, and in here it was 26 degrees, so that's a nice switch. Yeah, they are. I think this is end of the summer for them right now. They are just close
Okay.
to the autumn. So yeah, funny stuff. How the world works, our globe works.
Yeah, but in our place, it's starting to change. At least in my city in Lublin, I live in Lublin. It was really nice weather today. Yeah, like
Yeah,
the real spring.
sure. That'll be good time for us to finally take bike and do some after hour stuff as well. I think we have 2 minutes. We'll maybe ask guys for a quick comment on the chat, just to make sure that everything is visible and we are audible. If you can confirm on the chat, we'll appreciate a lot. And I think after the confirmation, we're gonna just roll the ball with the topic for today. I don't see it anything. You can actually ask our marketing as well for comment quickly. Yeah, we can hear and see. That's perfect. So once again, mastering compliance with user security governance. Thank you so much, guys, for joining the session. We're going to pass you over the recording after this one. But naturally, if there are going to be any questions within the webinar, please write it down in the chat so we'll be able to help you out afterwards, respond to question, address some concerns, address some ideas. As you may notice, we are more than happy to closely work with customers to get ideas, get some real life scenarios from Dynamics to address them by products and to make an excellence about the product to cover the needs. So today we're going to have 6 points of the agenda, starting with a growing need for user security governance and some baseline why Microsoft decided to move on with the user security governance. Just outline, maybe you don't know, maybe you know, the transaction between Executive Automats, X Plus, and Microsoft. So acquisition of the license. We're going to do a brief demo of user security governance 1043, what was released and what to expect soon. Then Pavel will take over the screen to show you beyond the compliance. So that will be the powerful of the executive automats for discovery. That's the product we deliver on the top of user security governance, and the product which enables you with significant value. That is kind of a game changer on the market, which is just making a significant steps. And I think you're gonna like what you're gonna see. We're going to have great showcase on optimizing licenses with USG. And then I'm going to walk you through our quick case study we did in South Africa, where we have some referrals. And at the end of the day, as a closing and conclusions, we're going to have Q&A where we can ask questions and we're going to respond on anything which you're going to pass to us. And starting with the need for security and compliance. So simply saying, Dynamics has for a long time since Exapta and kind of a major upgrade in AX 2012, the same security structure. We talk about that very often: roles, duties, privileges, and entry points allocated underneath that. And that whole architecture is pretty much complicated since the beginnings. That's why there was an invention and a creation of something called APQC roles, a standardized way how the roles are designed. Standardized, I mean, Microsoft created or purchased a library, which you probably all of you used if you use finance and supply chain management. The accounts receivable manager, clerks, representatives. There are several or over 100 roles available in the system, multiple duties allocated underneath that, and privileges allocated. But simply saying, that whole approach is very standardized, and standardized means that it won't give you the exact need which is raised by customer. Every customer will tell you we are unique as always, and that's the problem because everybody is unique. So those standardized ones will not work. If you're going to take the decision to utilize standard roles, standard duties, you're going to end up with incompliance. You're going to end up with licensing cost, and so forth. But that's kind of just the tip of the iceberg. You're going to move about compliance, and naturally, we have on the right hand side SOX compliance, on the left hand side on the blocks we have just compliance, and we can outline that because if you're going to take a look on the market, you're going to see the big market Nasdaq, NYSE listed companies which are focused on the SOX compliance, and you're going to have smaller market, European, Euronext, Johannesburg stock market. Name it, there are multiple new initiatives which are requiring from you a compliance, which builds a pressure on your security configuration. And that Microsoft also makes a baseline for security of the data that you have to provide, because all that you have in finance and operations, finance and supply chain management, will be a baseline for AI to later on work on it. You have to be very precise, very careful of what kind of permissions you're going to deliver to the users. So simply saying the need is growing a lot. The user security governance provides functionalities that are preparing you for SOX compliance. So from the ERP perspective, there are multiple controls that can be embedded in place, which I'm going to show you in a second, which will give you great confidence that ERP system is ready for the audit. There might be small elements that you need to work on, like audit data, like audit trail of the business events, but that is something which Pavel will mention later on. So as a small intro, I will just start presenting my screen. So I will walk you through the specifics of user security governance on the module. Pavel, we can just confirm if this switched, because today I don't have my
right? Not yet.
Oh, okay. So we'll just add that to the stage, and we have to remove the PowerPoint and move
this to for now we could see only PowerPoint. Yeah.
All right. So now we should see it. So as I was mentioning before, user security governance acquisition by Microsoft. So former product called Executive Automates for Security Setup now is listed from 1043 very broadly on the market with a name called Security Governance or User Security Governance. The major thing you have to focus on is the switch to processes equal to duties and roles equal positions. So user security governance maintenance module is the place where you define your business areas. Like here on the side, you have your administration area, finance, manufacturing, procurement. Naturally, these are just concepts. You need to do a validation on your system to make sure that these names, these areas are aligning with you. So you can build the hierarchy, and underneath the hierarchy, you're going to record business processes, which are going to be saved here on the site. That is a task you need to do. You need to identify what processes are allocated against a specific role, specific position. And for one specific position, you're going to have one row only. So in that case, every implementation after June 2025 potentially can switch to this, because this is going to be then available in GA. From June, user security governance will be a general availability functionality. Right now, it is as a preview. So there will be significant push and requirement for partners from customers to make sure that every partner will use that new approach and new model of the security rights, because there are multiple benefits of going that way. Um, so if you're going to define your hierarchy, you're going to define your positions underneath the business areas, you can start defining business processes. Naturally, you can use task recordings as the mapping of the process. So record in task record a process and deploy it here, convert to duty. So create production order process requires several entry points, number of 5 here, with specific crude create, read, update, delete access level. This is automatically defined by the system. If you've got that, this will be converted to duty. And then if you're going to go to security configuration module, you will notice the following. We have a role created with the name of the position. We have the duties. We have duty equal name to privilege. And naturally, we're going to have entry points allocated against a privilege. System gives you capability of identifying code permissions. So if there are some code permissions behind the scenes, they're going to be automatically added. That in a glimpse of the module, there are multiple tweaks and enhancements dedicated for the system to help you with building roles, precise roles for the specific positions. But system comes with much more enhancements. In example here, you have security users, the license user summary, which gives you great understanding of what licenses I need to be compliant with my current system. So underneath the user license summary, you'll be able to see at the glance what license is applied to the user according to the basic and attachment guide, licensing guide. So the latest approach which Microsoft right now is presenting. So you are able to see that April has basic finance. You'll be able to see some examples of users, CASI, containing basic finance, SCM, and project. If you're going to place against the attachments a price, you'll be able to calculate the total cost of the licensing of the system. And naturally, if your users are allocated against the specific hierarchy and specific row, you'll be able to here find if you have in between warehouse operators or production control or sales representative, some expensive roles. If that's the case, you are able to address that by working on those individuals. There are multiple other perspectives on the licensing. You can watch licensing from the role perspective, duty, and or specific user, which are having multiple roles allocated. So that is the licensing component. For supporting the compliance, Microsoft is delivering privileged user management functionality, and this is AKA Firefighter and SAP. You may know that from that platform, and this simply means that you can define a consultant or somebody who's helping you in the current moment in the system. So imagine you have a journal which is blocked, somebody is asking for help from our partner perspective, and to do the process to kind of get help, you define here privileged user, you define who will be delivering the help, and when they're going to be active. You're going to have maximum 8 hours time frame of the help, and within that 8 hours, the consultant works, and after 8 hours, the session is closed. All the actions, all the elements you've performed, they're going to be listed underneath the task recording. So we can say the session for privileged user is under surveillance. So you have all the log of their actions available for you after the session will be closed, and that gives the auditor confidence that if the contractor came to you to fix your issues regarding fixed asset journal or finance journals, and they haven't done something shady in between, just to make sure that there are no insider tradings or system corrections which were done with the bad purpose. Aside of privileged user management, naturally, there is something called temporary role assignment, temporary role management, which gives you the register of changes in the security access rights due to the events like sick leave, maternity leave, or so forth. So if somebody will take over somebody else's responsibility, you can list it here and merge somebody's responsibilities or swap them on the time being. So there is a quick resolution for you, quick response why somebody has elevated access rights for the time being. If auditor comes, they go here and they understand why they might be against, they violate the system SOD rules because they are partially replacing somebody in the system. So this is very, very well embedded in the system. Again, for compliance, there are additional reportings not available in standard to outline roles which are built in the way that they violate segregation of duties. There is a role audit trail, which is pretty interesting. It gives you another vision who and when was adding or removing security roles into people, including the perspective of understanding if somebody extended the roles to additional entities. So that gives you perception if somebody was working through extension or deallocation of the roles when some bad things, some fraud happened in the system. Naturally, we wanted to give possibility to see the user activity aging, which can be which can follow the 30, 60, 90 rule for multiple organizations, meaning that you can make a bracket. They are custom. You can define custom values, and system will check if the user was logged in 30 last days, 60 or 90, and accordingly, if the 90 days went out without login, you can talk with HR to if they are actually working in the organization to not overpay and not have open accounts. 60 days might be deletion of the account, and 30 days might be just deactivating the accounts. The process is for you. There might be more automation from Microsoft coming because there is a plenty of possibilities to bad job, to do the bad job and run accordingly the activation if people are not logged in within 30 days. Lastly, we're going to talk about security versions because this function is a need, is a necessity to set up. So if you had audit on January 1st and you've passed, or done, or December 1st, you've passed that, and on January 1st you have re-auditing, you are able to compare versions from version A to version B. So if I will create a version, then I have the possibility to compare. I'll do it now. So comparing at January towards December, I can focus on the differences only, and I can see that the one row was removed. If there will be modification of the row, if there's going to be a specific entry point access level elevation, that will be visible. And the other important aspect, which is solving this, which is solved by security version, is the following. System is right now moving towards segregation of duties. So you can say that I can create a role with a duty which will contain all privileges from the system, or one privilege which will contain all entry points. Since SOD is working only on the segregation of duty, so on duties level, that can give you system admin, kind of a quote system admin. Naturally, this is going to be like entire system access without those superpowers of system admin, but you can actually have a super user by giving them from the back door all entry points. But by this way, you could actually pass the whole rules set that you've created for the organization. To prevent this, you need to make security version. And if on the date of January 1st or December 1st, all was compliant and the roles didn't have that that gap, you will have, if in between, if something like this will happen, you will notice that straight in here, and you can then defend the changes to the auditors. So This security versions solves that big problem of incompliance due to the privilege changes. Naturally, there are a bit more functionalities available. They are more for caching and analytics and working with the roles. But today, we just want to give you a sneak peek. All this will come. There will be more documentation around this. But I think we can clearly say, Pavel, that this is a starter for you. Whenever you come to the
Yeah.
restaurant, this gives you an appetite. But Pavel will show you something which extends user security governance, which is our main course, and takes it to another level. And by staying this, I will just switch back here to our StreamYard and give
All
you
right. So
uh, to
add slides. Okay, it's here. All right. So thanks, Bart, for the introduction to user security governance. Yeah, so user security governance allows you to create those security roles based on your processes, based on your entry points, and how we can enhance it. So our application, Executive Automates for Discovery, you may heard it already. This application can track user activities. So EA for Discovery can work in the background of your dynamics and listen to what your users doing in your dynamic system. And once this data is collected, our application creates behavior patterns based on all those activities that were gathered by the tracker at the first place. And the behavior pattern is more or less pattern of our process from the system. So what, in simple words, what Discovery can do, it can find out real business processes executed within your dynamic system based on user actions, and it is done automatically. And of course, this kind of knowledge, this knowledge about our business processes can be used for various reasons, for automated testing, for process optimization, but also for the security. As Bartosz mentioned, in user security governance, you will be able to use task recordings with your business processes recorded. And Bartosz today will also speak about our one of our biggest projects regarding the security, and what we could see so far. And Bartosz, maybe you can confirm it. You have a lot of experience with it. Gathering the USG is great. It's cool. People were waiting for it for years, I think, and now it will be available for everyone. But anyway, to create those security roles, we will need the knowledge about our business processes. And with standard approach, you will need to prepare the recordings of your business processes, or your business will need to provide you the recordings of the business processes. What can EA for Discovery do for you? It can discover those business processes. So you don't need to speak with your business. You don't need to create any recordings yourself. The recordings are done in the background by the EA for Discovery, and by integrating our Discovery application with this USG module, you can create roles based on the real processes discovered from your system. So basically, you can watch your production for a month, get knowledge of your business processes, and create security roles based on that. So this is the first thing. And the second thing is automated test case generation, because those business patterns, those business processes that can be used for user security governance to build the roles, they can be used also within our executive automates for testing as the test cases for us. So if we export from executive automates for discovery few processes to build the role, later on we can reuse the same processes, the same recordings in our executive file transfer testing to run scripts against the role that we created, to automatically also test if the role that we created is in fact capable of running the business processes that you use to build the role. So with just few clicks, you can create a role from the business pattern, from the discovered process, and then you can also within the minutes test it out automatically with a script. So obviously it reduces a lot of manual work around the security. As we know that the user security governance will speed up a lot the security creation for the customers, for partners. But with user security, with executive outcomes for discovery, you can go way faster. Even within a month, you can create the full scope of your security roles. And there is one more interesting thing, because users executive outcomes for the discovery listens to every activity of the user. So every click, every action done by the user within Dynamics 365 is saved within the executive outcomes for discovery, and it can be checked. So what we present also with this tool, and what we can see it is really beneficial for customers, is the auditing our already existing roles. So if you guys have your production environment and you have your set of roles already created during the implementation or later on, what you can do also with discovery is audit those roles. So you can check basically how your users are using the security that they had. So let's go to the next slide. Of course, I will show you that on the tool itself as well. So we'll see this in practice. Yeah, and how this audit can help us with the licensing. What user security governance can show, and Bartosz was showing that as well, is the user license summary. So there you can see what licenses you need to buy for your users. You can see what entry points they use, they have in their security roles and duties. So you can see what they have regarding the security, regarding the roles, and then you can compare it with the real activities of the user. So you can see how many of entry points that users have in their security, how many of those they are using on a daily basis. And you will see that on the next slide. You may get surprised. I was personally surprised. I don't know, Bart, if you saw the audit. Did you see that?
That is the new thing for me, because what we've been challenging, or what we've been doing in the projects, we've been confirming that typically users are needing 10% of the actual number of the entry points of what they get from standard. But what you found out with that discovery tool, it's simply great. I mean, we'll carry on to the next slide, because I was pretty drastically surprised.
Yeah, so this audit is the third thing that executive outcomes for discovery delivers above the standard user security governance. All right, so let's see the next slide. Let's see the results. This is the real life example of audit of security roles. What you should focus on which column you should focus is the usage. In the first row, we can see how many entry points of each kind user has. So we have the Manuela user. She has 476 operations entry points. So really expensive, probably, security role. And as we can see, if we compare it to the discovery, to the executive outcomes for discovery, how many of those entry points from all those thousands of entry points this user is using, from 12,000, she is using this person only 213. So this is like almost 2% of the security. So you can imagine you give access to 1,000 things for the person, and at the end of the day she is using only 2 of them. So 10% would be my like the guess. I'd say, okay, 10% is like the max. But what we can see, usually users are using around 2, maybe 3% of the security that they have inside Dynamics. So this is really huge. With EA for discovery, you can build your security really tight. I would say the roles that you build with executive autonomous for discovery are very narrow. They are very specialized for the positions, for the people that are using those roles, and your system gets much more secured. Users will see only those things that are required for them. All right, and I would like to show my screen for a second to show you the whole process. So let me just remove the PowerPoint, and I want to share a screen. Hope everything will work. Live demo, so everything can happen. All right, you should be able to see that.
You need to add to the stage, I think.
I need to add to the stage. Yes, you're right.
That's
all right. Okay, so welcome in our executive autonomous for discovery. On the main page, of course, we have the dashboard, the summary of all the information that was gathered by discovery tool. So we can see top forms used by the users, users which spend the most time within the system, and of course the top 10 processes or patterns executed within the system. On the stream activity, here you can see what activities most of your users are doing within the system. So here you can see if maybe your users are doing too many copy paste. You can see if users are facing any errors during daily tasks. So this dashboard shows you really nice things. But today we have the security topic. So how to create the security governance role from the discovery tool. So first of all, we can use business patterns. So let's open one of the patterns. I think we can use the first one. It is the manual assign resources to a project. So discovery discovered that my users are executing this process within Dynamics. And if I open this pattern, I can see every execution of this particular process done by my users. And as you can see, our application is quite smart. It can see that users are doing the same process, even if they use different amount of steps. So no matter how users do the process, our tool should be able to correctly assign those activities to the right process. All right, so if we scroll down, we can see every execution of this particular process. As you can see, we have also option to run those, to automatically run those executions as a tests, or just to verify if particular execution is good candidate for turning this execution for automated script, automated test. And for security roles, this is also good information for us that this process works perfectly. So as you can see, once the process is opened, we can see steps of it. So I can see what the user did to execute this process, this manual assign resources to a project. And what is important from the security point of view, that for all the activities that require some security, some entry points, we have this information within the security. Within the discovery. And right now, very easy task to do. I just need to show the entry points on the view, and very quickly I can just export it. And once the file is created, I clicked 2 times. All we have to do is just import the file. All right. Like demo. Art, do you have this link to your environment? So I think I can.
Sure, I'll quickly send it to you on the chat.
All right, and in meantime, let's see the second way. So from the pattern, from the business process that was discovered, you can get the entry points. So the same idea like with task recording, but the difference is that you don't need to record anything yourself. You don't need to ask your business, your users to prepare task recordings or any other recordings to create the role for the process. But also we can use different approach to not use the business process, but we can also use the whole sessions of the user. So all the activities that are gathered by the discovery, they are also saved as a sessions. So I can see the full sessions of my users. So I can ask my users to do specific activities within the system during selected period. And then what I can do, I can use report section to find out specific sessions of the user. I will select my test user 2 to find out again what entry points this user used within this period. Of course, I have example of test account, but the same way you can monitor every user from your system, and basically you can speak with your business to ask them to do all the business processes that they usually do within the system, and they can execute all those processes during one session or 2 sessions, and then all the entry points from the session, they can be gathered within, on the report, and of course after it we can just export this file to Excel and then use it on user security governance. All right, I have linked to another environment. So I didn't want to use the Bart's environment to not make any changes to it. You don't mind, Bart, that I will create?
This is just some preset data for a fast track session with it, and then view engage.
All right, so let's create a new position in our USG. Let's name it as an example. Position, and let's create. All right, so new position is created, and the standard way would be to use task recordings to get the information about the entry points. But right now I want to just load entry points from a file, and let's use the files that I have downloaded. So one for entry points from the business pattern, from the business process, and let's do the same with the second file. So from the report, the same way we can get the information about the entry points. So this way you can save a lot of time and a lot of effort that would be required for from the business from your business users to provide you the recordings and the information about your business processes. With EA for Discovery, user security governance is on the, I would say, on another level. All right, that's all from my side. From the presentation, I will just add the slide again. And here there is my last slide, because I also mentioned the testing. So you probably saw our executive outcomes for testing. This application of ours that allows you to create recordings of business processes and run them. So the same way how we exported pattern and entry points from the pattern, the same way we can export the whole pattern and step-by-step execution of this pattern as a script in our executive autonomous. And we can use it not only to test our security, but also the regression, spoke tests. But for the security validation, it is really nice synergy, because we can use the same recordings to create the role, the same recordings to test the role. And yeah, this also is next thing that will save you a lot of time and effort working with USG. Right. Back to you, Bart.
Thank you so much, Pavel, for walking us through that. So we did something astonishing, and I hope you like the main course, the main value that we are providing with our AI-powered tool. We're going to have much more insights and marketing essence around that. But as Pavel was mentioning, the whole activity, the whole effort you need to place to identify process, work with business, that is taken. And that is something which will increase the time to value for every implementation. And I don't know if you've noticed, but we've used user security governance and standard. So we haven't implemented in that environment nothing. Every Dynamics Finance Supply Chain Management has that connector and has the possibility to import data as CSV and simply empower them with the complementary solution for the Dynamics. The software itself, formerly called Executive Automate Security Setup, had the great business cases. We had great customers around the globe. We have a very nice referential letter from Coca-Cola Bottling South Africa. And within that specific project, we've been able to deliver a lot of value of optimizing licenses, building security roles for different initiatives, different positions on multiple countries. So we've been able to prove that you are able to work within user security governance very efficiently and very quickly. You can build roles comparing to standardized way of building, like identifying manually entry points one by one and building new privilege, duty, and role for that. Instead of using as well standardized APQC roles, that role that you create within USG module, formerly known as Executive Automates for Security Setup, makes that difference. We've been able to identify quickly over 1,000 inactive users over the customer side, and we've been able to prove that number of users over 600 are not needed in the system because they don't actually need access based on our investigation. So I think this USG module is a game changer. It will introduce to you new way how to work with security, and there's definitely much more from Microsoft coming in subsequent releases. So at the end of the day, Microsoft wants to make the application complete, to remove number of ISVs or make it optimal, to make sure that the standard system will satisfy the needs for auditing specifically. One of the summary we wanted to provide you guys is that if you're going to think about your finance supply chain management, the application Executive Automates for user security governance, and Pavel also told a bit more because we have another product called Executive Automates for Discovery, which simply brings more tools, is nothing else as observability tool. First in the market observability tool for FSCM. which makes a game changer, which makes the capability of identifying the way how your system behaves, based on which sooner you're gonna, of course, you can build based on which multiple value, but the conclusion is sooner you're gonna listen, sooner you're gonna analyze and observe your instances, more data you're gonna get, more precise roles you're gonna build, more test cases you're gonna unpack, and you'll be able to provide you necessary controls about the system itself. There are two things which I would like to mention at the end. Um, SAP has the capability to monitor configuration changes. Dynamics doesn't. And with this function specifically, we are enabling our users to see if somebody changed warehouse behavior, financial dimensions, or any critical application feature option on the fly on production. If that was done in between today's day, I'm able to find out what was changed and very quickly react, very quickly provide some reverse process. And finally, because that is something which is afterwards, we are providing a prevention system to alert you whenever system will get changes, which is pretty mind blowing because you can set alerts to critical system configuration, to critical places like credit limits, margin alerts, to places like financial dimensions. Anybody goes close and any to those controls and they modify, you get alerted. You're gonna get notification over email or UI, and you are able to prevent some fraud happening. So be
Yeah,
proactive.
and
Not worry.
surprisingly, this happens quite often than expected. I mean, the changing the settings by users, etc. So before executive outcomes for discovery, I didn't think that it was this common, but with what we can see right now with discovery, this is quite common thing.
That's true, Pavel. We had a great examples within servicing of FSCM. We've seen unusual activity, multiple error messages popping out, and the one question for customer: what happened? And we've been able to walk through the changes through the last hours, filter specific actions regarding the system configuration changes, and find out that somebody just tick a box which changed the behavior of the financial the I think this was the fixed asset journals, and that made this whole discovery and the recovery process pretty soon. So we are able to give to the customers a true SLA, a true solution times, because we know what happens on the system. This and much more we can probably talk about for hours or days. That's our passion with Pavel regarding products and sharing the knowledge regarding the products. But let's give you the space for Q&A, and let's see on the chat some questions. I think we have one. Pavel, you want to read it?
Yeah. So there is one from Justin. I think I can show it. Is EA4 Discovery going to be within Dynamics or also, or is that a paid add-on? Yeah, this is our product. So what you will get in Dynamics is the user security governance module. This will be available with the June release, and executive outcomes for discovery. And this is product of ours that takes this USG on another level. It allows you to speed up things with USG and do much more. If you are interested in seeing this on a demo or on some live session, yeah, just feel free to contact us and we can dive into the details.
Yeah, and just to extend, it is a paid add-on. It has its own license. We are simply deploying for you a server. The data which is stored, it's stored on your tenant, on your Azure hosting. So everything stays aside of Dynamics. You don't create a massive amount of logging into the system. This is done. You can kind of imagine that you are turning on database login on every field of the system, on every action in the system, but without having performance drop. Everything stays on the side. It stays on the endpoint, and that builds you kind of I mean, a big data lake. And there is not telemetry. We don't use telemetry for
Yeah.
that. We use our own IP.
Let's show
Uh,
that second question.
we've built up our own IP to listen, to observe. And I think the name observability speaks for itself the most in that case. But yeah, if you're going to be interested, we can walk you through these specifics. I didn't see more specific questions for today. If you're going to have them afterwards, feel free to write email for us. We'll be able to give you some more understanding through the executive automats for discovery. Let's wait maybe for a minute or two. And if not, we're going to conclude for today. Good to see Rafael as well.
Rafael.
Yeah, pretty interesting stuff is happening now. We have great live customers on the executive automats for discovery, so we are able to gather a very enormous feedback how big the value is, and we are just expanding the roadmap, expanding the functionalities for it. And yeah, I hope our development team will survive the pace, and they will still want to have a drink with us after hours, because yeah, it is crazy. The crunch right now is just crazy. Okay, Pavel, so what do you think? We can conclude for today. And we look
Yeah.
forward to thank you so much, Justin. We are also very happy that Microsoft took our solution, that they choose this. It was a great effort for us to be part, but I think right now Dynamics has a great opportunity to beat SAP in multiple places. And with those functions, with such a great ISVs on the market from different verticals, it is just a great journey for us to be part in. And I think Dynamics will soon be the top one ERP system on the globe. So thank you so much, guys, for attention here and spending time on the best ERP that is on the planet.
Thanks, Bart, as well. Yeah, have a good evening, guys.
Thank you. Cheers.